afternoon, everybody, and I would like to welcome you by my name, Zainab Gassan, and by the name of my colleague, Ahmed Mansi. We would like to deliver our greetings from our third partner, Alia. Alia Bousamra is absent today due to an emergency business trip. It's known that great nations are driven by great visions. UAE vision is based on 4 pillars, as Mr. Aysan Maidoor just mentioned in his introduction. The pillars of UAE nation is united in ambition and responsibility, united in the knowledge, and united in prosperity, and united in our destiny, all as one nation. This vision will ensure, working toward this vision will ensure the prosperity and the continuous happiness of our nation and societies. Guided by his vision, by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The question is, 50 years from now, after we have loaded the last barrel of oil, are we going to feel sad? If our investment today is right, I think, dear brothers and sisters, we will celebrate that moment. In order to celebrate, in order to comply with this vision, we need to work and comply our works and targets and missions to comply with this vision. This is why UAE is doing this sustainability approach. This is why UAE is gathering all the minds and experiences to achieve sustainability. But what about other nations? Why other nations are targeting sustainability? Dear followers, global warming is no more a joke. It's not a theory, it's not a myth. It's a real life. It's a daily climate threat that's attacking all nations all around. So it's not more a theory that will attack one nation and avoid others. No one is spared. Growing fluctuation of oil and gas prices is setting a huge challenge towards setting an annual budget for nations. No country can figure out what's the prices of the oil and gas. We have seen a big drop in oil and gas just in the last couple of months, and we do not know what will happen in the next few months. So these are the main aspects why other nations are driving toward sustainability. Toward energy sustainability, as it's one of the big forces in sustainability, I would like to mention that UAE is targeting a 25% share of solar energy due to the 2050, 75% in renewable energy by 2050, 30% in electricity consumption by 2030. Not to forget that the percentage of people are getting higher and higher. As it's documented in the Vision 2021, we want the UAE to sustain its drive toward economic diversification, as this is the nation's sunrise path to sustainable development in a future that is less reliant on oil. This is the vision of UAE, and this is what we are targeting.
Our presentation, we are going to focus on renewable sources of energy, solar energy, geothermal, biofuel, hydrogen, and wind energy. So for solar energy, why we need to use solar energy? Actually, the sun is the largest energy source on Earth. It is eco-friendly source of power. What we receive annually on Earth is equal to almost 4 million exajoules, which is equals to 1.5 million of the total electricity consumption in the UAE. In most of the countries that we visited, most of the buildings are either using solar collectors for heating or PVs for generating electricity. What you see here is pictures from the city of Malmö in Sweden. They are using building integrated photovoltaics, BIPV, in the building envelope, in building facade shading and parking canopies. If we do a comparison between the UAE and Scandinavia, solar energy depends mainly on solar irradiation. It has a direct proportion between solar irradiation and the output of PVs or the electricity. In the Scandinavia, they have almost 50% less energy, solar irradiation energy or solar irradiation, than what we have in the UAE. So we have a much higher potential to use it in the UAE. So our recommendation, we need to utilize building integrated photovoltaics on existing and new constructions. We need to provide subsidies to encourage the use of PVs for building owners. We need to enhance and upgrade grid-connected PVs similar to the Shams project in Dubai. which allows you to export the surplus of energy that is generated on-site to the grid. We need to provide educational program to promote the use of renewable power in our society, so we can have solar collectors and PVs installed into schools and allow students have direct access to it in order to be a part of the educational process. And now we will go to the geothermal energy, which will be introduced by my colleague, Zainab.
Geothermal energy is considered one of the cheapest energies. I mean, it is under your feet, isn't it? It's available everywhere. You don't have to do a deal with another country to get it. It's just under your feet steps. Geothermal energy has many types, two types actually, the deep geothermal and shallow geothermal. It is based on how deep you can go in your excavation to reach the exact layer that that's sufficient for your temperature and the flow that you require. Geothermal application in the Scandinavian country has been starting since in a very long time. Geothermal applications are mainly directed towards space heating and domestic hot water heating for a single building. But still, they are doing shallow geothermal systems that's used a district heating network to provide 0.65 terawatts per hour yearly to cover 60% of their consumption. An installation with 500 meter deep. Now, bear in mind that the depth we are going. We are talking about Scandinavian country. They need to go 500 meter deep using a U-tube has successfully been delivering heat. Comparing to UAE geothermal systems, now there was a study that was done to Dubai Silicon Oasis headquarters, which is a couple of minutes away from us. It was found that a geothermal cooling is technically feasible and actually economical for such a building. Now we are not talking about a small footprint building. This could be considered as a typical office building. It was found that the study concluded that a vertical open-loop shallow geothermal system has the potential to accept and to be used as a cooling for cooling purposes. Now, when we are talking about shallow geothermal in the United Arab Emirates, we are not talking about 500 meters. We are considering 1 kilometer. That's when we are talking about geothermal. Even if we are reaching 800 meters depth, still we are, according to the layers of the UAE, it is considered shallow. Now, initial results are promising in Masdar city presents the ability to address a significant portion of the base of cooling load. In the Masdar city, they are going 2.5 kilometers. They are promising that the results are okay and we are able to perform geothermal energy in UAE actually. Our recommendation based on our observation. Now, from my experience, Dubai municipality usually require soil investigation prior to any approval of any building in any site. So I would like to suggest adding a geothermal report included in this soil report that will study the proportion or the possibility of having such a geothermal energy in this plot. It can be in Dubai, it can be in Abu Dhabi, it can be in Habtoor or rural area, not necessarily in the city downtown. Creating a demand for this technology in the market will decrease the prices, will provide a better, cheaper technology. We encourage further studies to examine different hotspots in different locations. Another type of energy is the biogas. Biogas is a clean and renewable fuel. It's made in biogas digester. Now, biogas is mainly from the organic foods. Some people are complaining that this is organic, we cannot throw food, but people are wasting food, and this is a reality that we cannot just overcome. A large tank is filled, a kind of bacteria is sitting there, zero oxygen environment, and the biogas is coming, and it can be utilized. Waste energy. Generating energy from a composite waste is utilized in Sweden since 1973. I think everyone knows that Sweden is buying waste from other countries. Actually, they're not buying it because they are recycling, because since 1973 they are tapping it into energy, and they need more waste to create more energy for their demand. That's why 60% of the district heating is needed in Malmö is covered already by waste-to-energy systems. Going back to the UAE, a small calculation can be done. Now in Sweden, the generated waste per person is 466 kilogram per person, while in the UAE it's it's 900. If each 1 ton of waste generating 600 kilowatt per hour, in the UAE per capita is wasted 0.9 ton. Actually, by doing the calculation, you will find that a standard family of 4 members will generate 2,160 kilowatt per hour. That's covering 1 month of consumption for a standard family in the UAE. Keep in mind that UAE has one of the highest per capita waste figures in the world. I think this is something we really need to consider.
So now we are going to talk about the hydrogen power. So actually, hydrogen power is a zero CO2 emission fuel. It is actually an energy carrier. I mean, the energy used to create hydrogen can be carried and then be used as a fuel. It can carry more energy than hydrocarbon fuels like natural gas or methane. But, the main thing about hydrogen is that the exhaust of the fuel is mainly pure water that can be collected and reused. So comparing to fossil fuel, it will be much better kind of a fuel because you're not producing any greenhouse gases or CO2. There are two main ways for creating hydrogen fuel. The first way is electrolysis, where you run electricity coming from renewable power through water to split the atoms of oxygen and hydrogen. Then you capture it, compress it, then you use it as a fuel. The other way is connecting a system to a waste-to-energy facility where you can capture biogas, then you use methane reforming process in order to create hydrogen, then you use it in a larger scale fuel cell, which is the SOFC, to generate electricity. So what we see here is power plants, the hydrogen power plants in Oslo, Norway. They have different categories, starting from 30 kilowatt up to the 50 megawatt. The use of this fuel in many applications, mainly the means of transportation, but it's really recommended to be used in large vehicles because you can install a tank that can store water and reuse it afterwards after a small treatment. So our recommendations, the UAE renewable power plants can produce hydrogen fuel as a secondary output beside the electricity. Hydrogen fuel can be extracted from waste to energy systems. It's recommended to develop researches and studies and developing technologies that can efficiently increase the potential of hydrogen energy.
About the wind energy, everyone knows we went to Scandinavia and went almost, as Mr. Asa said, it's 300 days per year. European Wind Energy Association found that by using wind energy only, in 2011, they were able to mitigate 140 million tons of CO2 only in 1 year. I mean, that's a big amount of CO2. Wind turbines will produce 80 times more energy than the embodied energy. If someone will come and say, what about the carbon, the CO2 created while factorizing, while building, transporting, everything, it was calculated and it was found that it's 80 times more CO2 mitigated and more energy than the one consumed. Wind energy in Denmark, we have been to Middelgranden site visit. It's actually the third biggest site visit, it's not the top. It has 20 wind turbines, each one with 200 megawatt. That's a total of 400 megawatt, producing energy for 40,000 households in Copenhagen only. Because we need to save infrastructure. So you cannot add initial cost to the infrastructure cabling and these things to deliver electricity furthermore. It's always recommended to keep it close. The total height of each turbine was 102 meters and the wind speed was 26 kilometers per hour. This is our pictures from the site visit. It was a very inspiring site visit and very informative. Now, going back to the speeds, I just mentioned that it was 26 kilometers per hour. We did a small study around different locations in UAE, all around UAE, and we were surprised to find that there is a location called Al Jalla, which is almost beside Serbaniyas. Actually, the highest average of the wind speed overall the year, the minimum highest average is 27.1 kilometer per hour. That's even exceeding the one in Denmark. The one in Denmark is running with 26 kilometers. So even the minimum one all over the year, it's 27. There's another place which called Abu Buhush. It's a little bit far, much more far. It's the minimum one was 24. It was recorded in August. 24 kilometers per hour. This is even the cutting speed for a wind turbine. You can generate a wind turbine with 24 kilometers per hour. Jabal Mabrih, which is on land, it's only beside Ras Al Khaimah. The lowest wind speed was recorded in September. It was 25.5. This is the average lower. There's a lower one which was in October, 13.7, but we are talking about normal average one. Sir Benias, which is already some studies are studying the possibility of having wind turbine in Sir Benias. It recorded the lowest wind speed was in October, 13.6 kilometers per hour, while the average is 22. So you can see how big difference is between the average and the lowest. But still 13.6 can generate a small electrical wind turbine. Now, I want you to keep in mind that, as you can see, August, September, and October are the months that are having actually the lowest recording. I will come to that in a minute. In our recommendation, we recommend that UAE implement and conduct studies to check the possibility of wind farm construction. Actually, wind farm construction can be joined as a hybrid power plant with solar energy. As I mentioned just in a minute, August, September, and October are the lowest. Actually, these months are summer, and sun is 24/7. Well, not in night, but it's daytime. So you can generate, even in the wind turbine farm, you can generate power using a solar plant while you are having a wind turbine. And if we are talking about only 3 or 4 months, while the wind energy plant is offering you the energy all around the year. It is advisable to consider wind energy as an option for suburban new communities and implement wind resources selection. Instead of having all the infrastructure going to the rural area, well, you can just have a wind turbine there and it will generate it. In order to ensure highest efficiency and cost value, it is recommended that wind farm serves the surrounding community because this will really drop down the initial cost of the wind turbines. Speaking about the building energy efficiency, my colleague.
Actually, we visited 2 interesting projects in Copenhagen, Denmark. The first one is the UN City. The UN City is a platinum LEED building. It has this unique star shape with big atrium in the middle. It is occupied with a building management system and presence and daylight detectors in order to reduce the use of artificial light and reduce the energy consumption. The building has those automated solar shades and screens that can either be closed or open in order to capture or reject the heat from the sun. It uses the seawater around the building in order to cool the building in summer in order to reduce the use of energy again. If you convert this building to an office building with exactly the same size, it uses 55% less energy comparing to another building. On the roof of the building, you have 1,400 solar PVs that generates electricity. It actually provides almost 35% of the total building electricity supply. The second project is the Crown Plaza Hotel. It is the first energy-efficient hotel in Denmark. It uses a geothermal energy system for heating and cooling the whole 26 floors and 366 rooms. It depends mainly on variable airflow volume system to ensure the efficiency of HVAC system. The facade is fully covered with PVs, almost 2,500 PVs that provides almost 25% of the total electricity used in the building. The hotel even provides training pipes for guests. They can use it for training and also to produce electricity and power for the building. So I'll leave you with a conclusion with my colleague Zainab.
Now, do we really need a big impact? Are we really looking for a change? Then we should go big. We should implement the change in all our standards, in all our policies, because countries and nations are driven by a bigger hand and policies. As I mentioned, geothermal can be implemented in Dubai municipality requirement as a prior to soil investigation report. A renewable energy source can be requested for any new project and even a retroofing of any construction. And to be realistic, to ensure energy density all around the year, you cannot say, oh, I will use solar only. No, you need to have a hybrid system. You need to generate and use the maximum renewable resources as much as you can. Ending up with a very important point of sustainable social sustainability, the real wealth of the country is made up of men and children and of future generation. It is this which constitutes the real treasure. This word was said by His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, and educating and setting our people on the right track is actually important. So Maktoum Foundation we are on the right track by supporting and enhancing education systems in all around.